but the debate that's going on for the budget for fiscal year 2012, which starts October 1, the reductions that they're proposing for individuals who can least afford that, the amount of money that they're talking about reducing from the federal budget is not going to have any impact on the deficit.
Good evening and welcome to Captions. I'm Andre Bohannon, your host, and again I want to thank you for choosing Captions. Tonight we're going to continue, if not wrap up, our series on PCCEO programs that are offered here in Peoria County, and our focus is helping people changing lives. Tonight I have two special guests, Melinda Duncan and Annie Brown. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you very much.
So glad you joined us, and we're going to be talking about a very special program in our community, and I know it's a very special program to the two of you, and that's the Foster Grandparents Program. I've had you on the show a number of times throughout the years talking about the foster program, and I'm so glad that you are here tonight. Take a moment and explain just exactly what is the Foster Grandparents Program. What does that consist of? What do you do?
The Foster Grandparent Program, first of all, is funded by the federal government through the National Corporation of Community Services and the Illinois Department on Aging.
Okay.
The program has been in Peoria and Tazewell counties since 1976. We're celebrating our 35th year.
Wow.
The Foster Grandparent Program includes low-income seniors. Now the age is 55 upward. We have sites, 21 all over town, hospitals, Head Start, early Head Start, schools, child care centers, drug treatment centers, and our low-income seniors that are volunteering go into these sites and help children with literacy.
That is fantastic. How long have you been associated with the program?
Almost 14 years.
Almost 14 years. Well, that is really great. How many seniors do you have in the program currently?
We actually have 52. We're funded for 55.
Wow.
We're watching our monies these days very closely because of some of the cutbacks that are happening to programs. But right now we're waiting for the end of our year.
Okay. Are there any benefits or stipends or payments that are given to these individuals that work in the program?
Sure. The low-income seniors, the volunteers, receive a very small stipend.
Okay.
They also get a free hot meal at their sites every day. Some of them get breakfast and lunch. Some of them just lunch. And they also get, while they're volunteering, the hours that they volunteer, they also have accidental insurance.
I see. About how many hours a week or a day would this person be involved in the program? Is there a fixed amount, or does it vary?
It varies. It varies according to the site and what their need is, and the need of the volunteer.
Okay.
They can volunteer 4 to 8 hours per day.
Okay. And they basically are assigned to these various sites, and they then work with young kids, maybe toddlers or whatever, and
from babies to developmentally children up to 21.
Okay. And Annie, are you one of these foster grandparents?
Yes, I am.
And how long have you been associated with the program?
Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years. And I can tell by the smile on your face that it must be something that you enjoy doing.
It is. It is.
How did you get involved? Did you hear about it? Did you see about it? Or somebody suggest that you become part of it? Or
Actually, I heard about it.
Uh-huh.
And then I knew some of the other foster grandparents had talked to me about it at my church.
Okay.
And that's when I decided to call. I called Miss Belinda and Miss Stephanie.
Okay.
And Miss Stephanie explained the program to me. So it sounded very interesting, and also something that I knew that I could do. And it would be a rewarding to me as well as to the community and the children.
Well, that is great. Are you assigned to a specific site, or do you go from place to place?
No, I'm assigned to Southside Mission.
Southside Mission.
Yes.
Okay. And could you share with our viewers what a typical day would include? What do you do when you arrive, and what kinds of activities are you involved in as a foster grandparent?
When I first arrived at Southside Mission as early morning, I worked the early shift. The children are coming in, and they're from ages 2 up to 6, I think. And they're all getting ready to get themselves together to go to their different rooms once they all get there. And they do have breakfast.
Okay.
And some of the children eat breakfast. But the most, I think the most important part of my interest into the Southside Mission is when the children look and see me.
Right.
And they all come running. Grandma Annie, Grandma Annie. Okay, that's the reward there.
I'm certain.
Just to, see their little faces light up, knowing that I'm going to make a difference in their life for the day. After that, we go into teaching them, helping assist with maybe alphabets, color, reading a book, or some little guy fall down, hit his head, or maybe just don't hit anything, just feel like they need to cry.
Yeah.
We pamper them, get them back to where they can start back to learning.
Well, that's what grandmas and grandpas are for,
Yeah.
is to give a lot of love, a lot of hugs, a lot of kisses,
Yes.
good advice, tell them when they're not doing the right thing,
Right.
and help them to learn what the right thing is, and that type of a thing. So I'm quite certain that they are as excited about seeing you in the morning as you are looking forward to being there and seeing them.
Right.
And I would assume that, as Melinda said, there's a stipend, but the pay, the greatest amount of pay, I would assume, is the love that you get and the love that you give.
Right.
And I can look at you and tell that whoever calls you grandma is in love with you,
Yes.
because you have such a pleasant face and you look comfortable.
Thank
You look like you'd have a comfortable lap for them to sit on, and a beautiful neck to hug, and a cheek to kiss on. And kids need that.
Yes.
They really do.
Yes.
We may not be able to give them things,
Right.
but we can always give them love.
Love. Exactly.
Give them attention. Kids need and crave attention. And I would assume that in that program, that was one of the purposes, was to give the support to the kids that they would not normally have.
Right.
Would you recommend, and I would assume the answer is yes, that people who are watching tonight, who have the time, who have the age, and who have the love to share with others, to get involved in the program?
I would definitely recommend, not only just for the children, but for the grandparent as
All right.
well.
Okay.
It not only help us to stay in our homes, but it also help us mentally,
Yes.
where we would sit home, probably worry what else would be for us to do. And to be able to get out from your home and go and get that feeling of helping someone, that you're still able to give back to the community.
Yes.
And then someday these little guys are going to grow up, and you know that you're part of the nurturing of those children.
Great.
And to get that feeling, that helps us mentally, that helps us to stay away from the doctor's office, that helps us to stay off of the medication, because if you're happy mentally, you forget to be sick. The body will forget to be sick. So I would recommend that to anyone that's just sitting and not doing anything, and day after day you're feeling the need for something. This is a program that would help you both mentally, physical, and you'll feel the reward within yourself.
Great comment. I can't think of a better way of which a person, as they're getting older in life, and sometimes we feel like, well, what can I do? Or there's a lot you can still do if you're physically able and mentally able to do so. And as you say, by being involved, that's good for the mind and it's good for the body to have to get up in the morning and go somewhere rather than just laying there in bed and thinking and worrying and that type of a thing. So it's an intergenerational win-win situation. The kid wins and the grandparent wins.
Right.
Well, Melinda,
Sorry.
from just talking to the two of you, I would assume that if a program like this is cut, and I'm quite certain that unfortunately when we look at our funding sources, and this is federally funded, as they're now beginning to make cuts, they think about things other than human services, and they probably think about things other than a foster grandparent program. But I would assume it would be devastating to our community as a whole, to the grandparents specifically, and to our kids even more specifically, if this program was not continued. Is there anything that you would like to say to our viewers tonight to encourage them in whatever way in which they can to speak up and let people know, first of all, if they're interested, how to get involved in the program, and second of all, to let people know, whether they're our local politicians, our state politicians, or our federal, just how important this program is in our lives.
I think one of the most important things we can do, and especially if they've watched the show and they've listened to this great person, because this is exactly what the program's about.
Yes.
We actually write letters, send pictures, tell stories. When they do something, our legislators do something really wonderful, we always make sure every year that we acknowledge them. And we tell them how much we appreciate the support they give us for our program. And of course, we have quite a few local. Federally, on the federal side, I would say, you know, of course, it's Senator Durbin and Senator Kirk and Congressman Schock.
Right.
On the state side, Jahan Gordon, David Leach, Dave
Kaler,
Dave Kaler. And if you see them, talk to them or call them. If you go to their office for any reason, remind them we're here and why we're here and why we're important. One of the things that all of this, you know, comes together, and at the end of one of our program years, which is coming up, we have been very blessed to have a program that has wonderful outcomes. In other words, we have to prove what we've done over the year.
Okay.
And last year we had 96% of all the children that touched the lives of these volunteers made it to the next level of education.
Well, that is fantastic.
Now that's a huge, huge accomplishment.
It certainly is.
The other one is that these wonderful volunteers volunteered 69,144 hours last year. So they're there every day. If they get sick, they hate it. They don't want to be sick. They don't want to be in the hospital. All they want to do is get well and go back to the kids. And that's probably the heart. That's just the heart of the program. It's just so wonderful. And we are okay for the moment. But unfortunately, 2012 is coming up. Our new funding year. And yeah, we're on pins and needles because for 35 years they've done this in the two counties, and it's paid off. I got a really short story, but if you happen to be in Walmart, and this has happened to me more than once, and I'll see a grandma, and of course we always hug and say hello, but then you'll see this little kid coming running up and saying, Grandma, I'm so glad to see you today. It's not usually the day that he would see the grandma. And then they would just hug and, it just makes your heart very, very warm.
Well, to me, that's what Community Action Agency has always been about, is touching lives, from little kids to the foster grandparents to everybody in between.
It's true.
And not only do you give out things like food and furnaces and things, but most important, you give out hope, you give out encouragement, and I could tell in this program you give out love. And that is just as important in terms of statistics, not just the number of hours, not just the number of people, not just the number of outcomes, but the love can never be measured or ever underestimated, and to me that's one of the key parts. Well, again, I want to thank the two of you for sharing these special moments with our viewers tonight and letting them know that you are still here. We want you to continue to be here, and we want our viewers to think about becoming a part of the program, and if you can't become a part of it, certainly become a part of the effort to make certain that it continues. That's something you can do. As I said, we educate you. I'm going to hopefully motivate you, and I want you to participate, if not in the program directly, but participate in taking a moment to make a call or make a letter to support not only this program, but the many other programs. We're going to take a short break and come back and talk about another program where we're going to be focusing on helping people and changing lives. Ladies, thank you for
sharing. Thank you for having us. We appreciate it very much.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to Captions, and we're going to continue to talk about helping people, changing lives, and I have two special guests that are going to be talking about two very important programs. I have with me this evening April Creamer and Peyton Harris. Welcome to Captions.
Hello.
Thank you.
April, I don't know whether I've had a chance to interview you before, have I?
No, you haven't.
Well, great. What program are you associated with?
I'm the food service manager at PCCEO.
Food service manager. What food service do you operate at Community Action Agency?
Central Illinois Catering.
Okay.
And also we provide the food for Peoria Head Start and the senior meals programs.
Wow, that's quite a large amount, I would assume. About how many meals a day are you responsible for preparing then?
300 meals for breakfast and for lunch for Head Start, 160 meals for senior meals.
That's not a small operation, I
No.
tell you. And are you located also at 711 West McBean?
Yes, we are.
Out of that kitchen comes that many meals?
Every day.
I would imagine that keeps you humping. About how many people do you have working with you?
Myself and 3 other staff members.
My Lord. Well, I want to congratulate you or express my sympathy to you for having such an awesome responsibility as that many meals. In addition to fixing those kinds of meals for your programs, do you also do catering in terms of the general public? And if so, what does that consist of?
Yes, we do. We have a catering company. We do anything from boxed lunches to weddings to just whatever you're looking for. We can provide the meals for that. The meals consist of pretty much whatever you want. We'll cater to whatever you'd like to have. We do have a base menu, but we'll rearrange that to whatever you'd like to have.
How large of a group of people can you prepare for in terms of your catering business?
We've served up to 150.
So up to 150. And what kinds of events come to mind that you've catered for? Is it like a wedding? Is it like a funeral? Or
we've done weddings, funerals. Actually, tomorrow night we're doing the catering for down at Taft Homes for the rejuvenation of Taft Homes. So we do a lot of things like that for the different various businesses in the community.
Wow. So for any special event that individuals or organizations would be planning on having, they can contact you and discuss with you the possibility of your doing the catering. Is that correct? And I would assume that since you're associated with the PCCEO, your prices would probably be as competitive, if not more competitive, than most other places that they would traditionally think about calling.
They are quite competitive. Actually, pretty good compared to what's out there right now. Real good.
Well, that's great. So I would assume that some of your funding comes from the private sector through special events or people buying your lunches and that type of a thing.
Yes, it does. Yes.
Do you receive any federal funds as it relates to like feeding the seniors or feeding the Head Start, early Head Start type kids?
For that program, not the Central Illinois Catering, but yeah, for the senior meals and the Head Start programs.
Okay. And Peyton, you're associated with a meal program too, are you not? What program are you associated with?
I'm the coordinator for the Senior Meals program, Andre.
Senior Meals, okay.
Right.
What is that program? I would assume I know when you said senior, so I assume it's something that focuses on seniors, am I right?
It does. The program itself is federally funded, and it comes through the state to us. Basically, we're feeding 160 seniors per day, and there may be times when there's a few more than that. I usually leave that up to April to handle.
Okay.
When you get things like soup or casseroles, you know, there can be a few more people coming in to eat from that same type of meal.
Okay.
We generally restrict it to seniors, but in the case of federal high-rise residential facilities, people who live there are eligible to eat because they're there not just because of their age, but because of some disability.
Okay. So I'm assuming that these meals are delivered to sites
Yes, they
for
are.
the people to eat? How many sites do you have?
We have 7 different meal sites in Peoria.
Okay.
And we generally just serve in the city itself. We don't go to the county.
All right.
But those 7 different meal sites are primarily residential meal sites.
Okay.
We have 2 that are congregate in the sense that the people come into those particular sites. The rest are residential.
Well, that is fantastic. I would assume that they probably look forward to those meals. What meal do you serve to the seniors?
Well, you're right. They do look forward to the meals. And in some cases, some of our facilities, the residential people there may not be getting another meal that provides any of the daily nutritional value. So in some cases, when April has the meals prepared and send them out, they may want to start early if it's a big delivery of meals. And if the guys get there delivering the meals between 10 and 11, that's when those people want to eat.
Okay.
It's basically supposed to be a lunch.
All right, that's a lunch.
But
okay.
they'll eat it as soon as it gets there.
Well,
They're
I'm
waiting for it.
I would imagine if they're like anybody else, when you're hungry, and you're looking to have something to eat, and I would imagine that probably the best meal that they may get that day is the meal that's delivered through your program. In addition to their sitting down and eating, what other type of activities normally go on, if any of the activities go on, during the time of the meal?
We partnered with some of the other resources in Peoria to make sure that the people, our residents, get things like blood pressure checks.
Oh, okay.
They are told and invited and sometimes taken to different health seminars that are held each week. The Agency on Aging, which is our funding source, just this past Saturday had their annual health expo that they do out at Expo Gardens, where a number of vendors come in and give free massages, give different coupons to come to their establishment for different kinds of health-related activities that the people can take part in. And even though it was raining, there was a large number of people that showed up, more than I thought would show up.
So in addition to meeting nutritional needs, you're giving them an opportunity to socialize, as well as screenings, health screenings, and other kinds of things that would be advantageous for seniors to take advantage of.
That's right. And they do, to a large extent, take advantage of those things. We would hope that they would do more. Holt Education Center provides a number of health screenings during the year.
Great.
And if we could get more of our low-income families and low-income seniors especially to go to Holt and the other places that are giving these health seminars, all the hospitals are doing them now. And if we can get our seniors to take part in that, I think it will do a lot toward keeping their way of living on an upbeat scale.
Well, it sounds as if it's like many of the other programs there at PCCEO. It's a very comprehensive. Just like Head Start, you're working not only with the kids, but with the parents, and not just in terms of education, but socialization and health screenings. And